we are joined today by Sarah. Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself to the people, let them know who you are and what you do?
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Sarah Alongé. I am the founder and the CEO of Alongé Designs. I'm also an author of a book called Behind the Scenes, and I am what do I call it? I'm a policy advisor, so I have a 9-to-5 job as well, and I'm also a minister. So that's me in a nutshell, I would say.
Amazing. So that's news to me, minister. Amazing. So we're going to dive into that too, child. We got a minister with us today.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Sarah, I'm excited to get into this chat with you today because I know you've got heaps of gems. We've got a wow in the house. Guys as well, do drop your comments and your questions in the comment box for me. Last week, I've got another phone here where I can read the questions. Last series, my face was just up in the camera child trying to read these questions.
It's so hard to do both.
Honestly, but I have a second device. So guys, drop all your questions in for Sarah and I promise I will get through them all. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into our conversation today, Sarah, because I know you are a woman full of gems.
Thank you.
Learned as well. And you're about 6 years in to your company, right?
Yes, I am.
Amazing.
Yeah. 6 amazing years in. Okay, so Alongé Designs is a fabric sourcing company, but it originally started as a ready-to-wear African-inspired design, and the backstory of it is quite interesting. So I was going to Nigeria 2014 to the year it started, and I always asked my friends I used to always ask my friends what they want me to bring back. And one of my friends said, oh, I really want like an Iran buba. So I don't know if you remember that trend, if you're Nigerian, the silk fabric, Iran buba, the top and the wrapper, you can make it into like whatever style you want, essentially.
You need to educate us, girl, okay?
So it's sure. Like a top and a wrapper, right?
Okay.
And so I was just like, yeah, like sure, it's gonna be much cheaper to get it from Nigeria. Okay, no, it wasn't. Lo and behold, I went, and they were quoting like English is hard today. When I converted,
it's Monday, girl.
I'm looking for the words. It's Monday. I'm tired. I've got bags. God is good.
Don't worry,
but when I converted the money, it was coming to like £45. I'm so sorry, what? I was thinking, what's that? No. Like, that's too much. And then I remember coming back, and my mum at the time used to go to Dubai quite a bit to buy fabric. So my mum said, oh, why don't I just buy the fabric? We find a tailor to do it, and then you just give it to your friend. And I was like, that's a shout. And from that, exactly. So from my friend saying that, I said, okay, cool. So my mum goes to Dubai now. I love to buy. It's like my friend Sarah's on here. We love to buy.
Me about it.
And the fabric that is really nice, like much better quality than what I was finding here, was working out to be, for the amount that we needed anyway, was working out to be like less than £10. Then I had a tailor who sews this style because it's literally a top, and they just cut the wrapper and then do the the hem or the seam or whatever. Sorry, everything's done in my head now. And she was just like, oh yeah, it's really quick for her to do it. She just came from Nigeria, and so she was saying, oh, it's going to be like £10, like, you know, that's how much she was going to charge for it. So I was like, half the price. And then I was looking for like how much was retailing in the UK, and people charging like £50, and people were buying it for £50-60. And I thought, Sarah, are you smart? Okay, this is a business idea. So at the time, I had a few £100 to spare. I was doing my masters at the time. I was finishing my masters, so all my savings and stuff was pumped into that. So it's not like I had all this massive money, but I had some money, which was like kind of gifted to me, actually, like a few £100, and I just pumped it into that. And I created my website by myself. You know, I did a contract with this seamstress that was going to do the clothes, and within a couple of months, it was a business. And that's how we started.
Awesome. Now I'm going to take back 2 steps. You said you've done a contract with the seamstress, right? Where did you get your advice from? Who sort of, so this was your first dive into entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
So what was your light bulb, or where did you get your information to know that actually you need to make a contract rather than just back-ended things going wrong the line? So who guided you? Who mentored you?
So, starting a business as a student, even though I was I'm not a mature student, but I was doing my postgraduate at the time. You make all of these friends who are students as well. And then on top of that, for my undergrad degree, I have a friend who was doing law. So when I told her about my ideas and everything, she was like, oh, you need a service agreement. It might have thinking a service, what's that? What do I do that for? But she was able to draft one for me. And that's what I used. So it wasn't like I was just clued up or I Googled and I just knew what to get. I would be lying if I said that was the case. It was actually a thing of somebody like who was a student, or not a student. Yes, someone who was a student.
But there's different skill sets to you and was able to actually advise you, which is testament to surrounding yourself with the right people.
Absolutely.
So that is awesome. That is awesome.
Absolutely.
So you started Alongé Designs, which is a combination of your first name and your second name. So you're Sarah Alongé, and you've got Alongé Designs. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah. You are.
Awesome. So what was the takeoff like for you? So you had interest already from a friend. So you knew that it was something that, and it's your culture. Are you Nigerian?
I'm Nigerian, yeah.
Right. So you already know the heritage behind it, maybe the demand behind it. So you were working at an advantage on that side of things.
Yeah.
But sometimes broadening your custom or marketing to get it out there to the masses. So usually when a business starts, it's friends and family, word of mouth. How were you able to grow your audience and grow your consumer base?
Yeah, friends and family and words of mouth. Like, never underestimate the power of your network. Because for me, it was like, I have a lot of friends. And I literally was, at that time, was Stories even around? I don't think Stories was around, actually.
No,
it wasn't around. But I remember just telling everybody, okay, guys, I'm starting a business. At that time, I was still using Facebook-ish. And that helped a lot, because you have these random people on Facebook that follow you that you don't know who end up being your customers. So that's a blessing. And I just got my friends and family to cascade, the information. I was like, listen, this thing now is becoming a trend. People are getting married, it's affordable, just let people know. Then I'll speak to my mum's friends who also are interested, maybe would have a different kind of design, get them to do it. And because I was doing it at a much cheaper rate, of course, they were trying to books me and be like, oh, just take off £10, let me do it for you. Like, you know how Africans are. You're just like, auntie. So with them, God forgive me, I was telling them more than it was from the beginning, because I knew they were going to give me the surprise. So I did all of that legwork by literally just telling a friend to tell a friend. But what I would always say to people is that, especially back then when Instagram was popping, but like I said, there was no stories or anything, I made sure I had a website, and I couldn't afford to get a website done. And the blessing of things like, so if you're looking to start a site and you want to sell anything, the blessings of things like Big Cartel, Shopify, even getting a WordPress account and linking it to PayPal, these things here, it means that you as an individual can start before you have the money to get a developer to do an amazing back end and front end website for you. And I literally sat on YouTube, because at that time it was a lot harder than it is now. I sat on YouTube and watched tutorials. Do you know what I mean? And embedded things. And the reason why that was important, and I'm going somewhere because you're asking how did I get this out? The reason why that was important, because I then started to look for events I could network what I was doing. So for example, you have stuff like the African Bridal Show, which is one of the reasons why I ventured out, actually, and I'll go into that, the African Bridal Show. And then you have things like there was fashion shows, a lot of fashion shows, student fashion shows, and all. And I thought it would be if I go without business cards, which were really big at the time, without a website, and with no social media presence. So I did all of that like while I was getting the business running, and business going, and that really helped.
Amazing. Yeah. Forward thinking, and also using initiative, and that's something that is slept on. Definitely is initiative and just taking those steps, because you were a step ahead. Whereas I guess for the average individual, you would go to the fashion show, realize then, oh, do you know what, it would have been good if I had some business cards, and then second time around, you know, go with your business cards, go with maybe some products, etc. So that's brilliant that you were forward thinking. And I guess your market is also including weddings and bespoke, and African and Nigerian weddings are huge. So again, amazing, another advantage. Have you found? No, sorry, go on.
I actually went into the wedding. So I started with the Irumba, so that's the wrap in the top. Then did the cheeky tops. You know, everyone was wearing the cheeky tops at one point. But then I decided to do like fitted ones using the Angelina fabric. That's the name of the fabric, which comes from Ghana. It's like a Hollandis Ankara fabric, and get them made. So you're paying a bit more, but they were going to look better. No one could buy from, like,
because dashikis are just straight fitting, right? But you
straight
made
fitting, plain. So I made them fitted, made them into dresses, you know, and because of the fabric that was used, it was quality. So people wanted it, and that they've sold out like instantly. It was great. But then all of those are trends that kind of end. But with the wedding business, I was like, well, actually, people get married, they want fabric. I don't know if you know what Ashoebi is, but like it's Nigerian culture where we wear, everyone wears the same fabric.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so everyone wears the same fabric. And for me, it was a natural transition into that, because like you said, it's my culture. I understand it. I love people. I love brides. And so I went into that, and this is where I am now. That's why it's fabric sourcing.
I love that little journey you just took us on, from your friend asking you to bring back an outfit from Nigeria, to grow into a business, to experimenting with certain styles that were on trend, and then going into the wedding industry, because that's something that's never going to die down, basically. There's always the wedding. That was, I don't know if you realise the journey you just took us on, and actually that's awesome. Have you found, I wanted to ask as well, so as of the past maybe 4 or 5 years, the African culture has been embraced a lot more with your, you know, Burna Boys, Wizkid, Davido. There's a buzz around African culture where I think it's fair to say back in the day, you'd almost shy away from admitting that you're African. In school, you know, you had all them backhanded jokes, and now it's very fashionable. It's a lot more popular. Have you seen an impact of that on your business? Have you found that your clientele has opened up a bit more, or there's more of a demand?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. And even when I get clients who aren't even Nigerian or aren't African, and they say, oh, I really like this look that I saw in a wedding, that's on Bella Ninja, you know, absolutely it's had an impact.
Awesome.
I mean, being African is great.
Oh, it is. And I'm glad it's being highlighted now, because it's similar to just being black, you know, not so long ago. 100%. Even just being black, you were just like, oh, you're always the soft one in the room, or it wasn't embraced. Whilst we've always been proud to be black, the masses never embraced us as black people for the most part. Yeah. So even that, it's all been a transition based on history, which is a whole nother live child. But it's all been transition, and I'm loving the embrace. I'm loving the embrace now. Have you found, take us down the path of kind of your faith, where you had to inject faith into your business? Because I came across a video which was awesome, and you were talking about a photo shoot. So take us on that journey. For everyone tuned in that hasn't seen the video, let us know that testimony, I want to call it.
Yeah, because I have so many, but the video in particular you're speaking about. So I would be lying if I said for the whole 6 years that the business has been fruitful. There's definitely been years where I've made money definitely been years where I've lost money. And in 2018, I knew that I had to make some changes and just kind of step out of what I was doing and have a photo shoot to kind of showcase what Salonga could do for people. 2017 was hands down one of the worst years for the business. I was going through some things personally, which meant that I couldn't really focus on it as much. I invested quite a bit into just having material and stuff on the ground that just never sold, or like, you know, I had clients in arrears. Like, there was just a number of different things that happened, and because where I was as a person, you know, your life doesn't stop because you have a business or whatnot. I'm gonna be honest with you, it wasn't even important. It was like, Sarah, I need to get my mind right, I need to get my everything right. But then in 2018, like crossover from 2017 to 2018, I said this year has to be different. And I brainstormed all of the ways that this year had to be different, how I had to step out, what stepping out would cost me. And the more and more I spoke to people, they're like, okay, you know, do up your website a bit, have a shoot. And I thought, shoots cost money. Like, I have to get fabric, I need to get the fabric made, I need to get models, I need to pay for a studio, pay for a photographer, pay for a videographer. What? I don't have, like, you know, in 2017, I was saying I didn't have the money. And then now all of a sudden, I'm here coming to spend this money that I don't have. You know, and I don't mind using my personal money for my business. Absolutely not. Like, my business, literally.
But balance as well, you know, sometimes.
Absolutely. My business is 100% like my first baby. So I don't mind. But it was the risk of it. It was if I do this and it doesn't work, that's just too much loss. Honest opinion, honest truth. And towards, I would say, I think it was like February, I was speaking to one of my friends, Honey, and she said, she was just randomly talking about stuff. And she was like, I sell my clothes that I don't wear anymore. And I was just like, if you see my wardrobe, it's so many clothes, all them birthday dresses that you know you're not going to wear anymore. You spend £100 on it, £200. It's just there, do you know what I mean? And I thought, and I really felt like at that moment, God was just like, open a Depop account. And I'm going to say it was God, because if you know me, I can give things away. I don't care for money for it, give it away. But in doing that, I opened up a Depop account and I sold birthday dresses that I'm never going to wear again, clothes that no longer fit, shoes that I've looked at, and that's about it, you know. And I took that money and some other money, and that funded, or I was going to use that to fund the photo shoot, essentially. And literally around that time, my main prayer to God was, God, favor. The Bible says, so I'm a Christian, so I'm going to say it. The Bible says, yeah, listen, I'm not even apologizing. I'm just gonna put it out there. Yeah, you're right. The Bible says that, you know, I cover my righteous with favor as a shield. And I just like, God, I birthed this business. And before I birthed the business, something I missed out, which was vital, was that I was prophesied to that, oh, you're going to start a business. But because in my family, I'm the only person who's not really, or wasn't really like business. I just thought, I love working. And I think I said it to you on the phone, like, I love my job. Like, some people are in their jobs and they hate it. That's never been my problem. My problem is that I love it a bit too much, you know. So I just kind of felt like, okay. I took the word because the man of God was my bishop, and I genuinely believe the words that he's spoken over my life. So I kind of took it, but I just maybe thought, maybe when I'm like 40, you know, maybe like that's when it's going to happen. And so the fact that within a year the business happened, I knew it was God's doing. And I knew that when the idea came, it wasn't just because I'm one smart chick. Like, I really, really believed it was Holy Spirit inspired. So when things were going rocky, I said, God, you wouldn't give me this avenue, you wouldn't give me this business for it to fail. And whatever trial I'm going through, it's for the lifting of this business. So I'm going to take this money that I got from Depop and I'm going to add some of the money that I have on top of that. And I'm going to invest in Salonga Designs, and I'm going to see a yield from the investment. It's like I sent the money on an assignment, you know, and you know, I sent on the assignment. I said, this is what I need to happen in my business. And the obstacles that came, and I can't remember, I feel like the video was so long ago. The obstacles that came from the videographer losing footage, from the photographer kind of going AWOL for a bit. You know, so many different things happen. And I sat there thinking, the amount of pressure that I put on myself to do this shoot, because I genuinely believed in my heart of hearts that this is what I'm supposed to do. And then all of this thing was going wrong. I said, this opposition is too much. But again, what the Bible say, yeah, just I'm saying, you know, it says many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them all. And I had to say, this is, I felt like I was being afflicted. Now it sounds so dramatic, but it was like one thing after the other. Like, how can images go missing? The thing I prayed about the most, the thing I saw you transfer onto your memory card, I was actually traumatized. Everything I've done since then, every time someone takes a picture, I'm like, okay, did it save? Because I felt like I had PTSD.
Wow.
You know, that happened. And so all of this was happening. Then eventually in August, the shoot was in June. So June, July, going for all of this stuff. I've already kind of announced that I'm going to be updating my website. But I didn't have the images for it.
Content,
and then I didn't have the content, I didn't have anything. Then when I was on my solo trip to Berlin in 2018, that trip was life-changing. I remember praying when I go on my solo trips. I always dedicate time out to just really pray, spend time with God's presence. I remember praying and I was just like, okay, God, I didn't do this because I thought it was going to be a fun thing to do. I did it because this is what you've placed in my heart. It's what I love to do. And I just like, wherever those images are, whatever can be salvaged from the video footage, I need it to work out for my good and the good of my business. And to God be the glory. On my penultimate day in Berlin, I get an email from the videographer and the photographer saying that, you know, the videographer wasn't able to get everything, but what he had, I could work with it. I stopped crying. I remember calling my friend crying, like, what he had, I could work with it. And with the images, I loved them. And I put it out there. I updated my website, and that literally changed my business. When it came to Ashobi, Ashobi being the uniform clothes, I literally became one of the people that people thought of when they were looking for it in this country. And that for me,
that is
you know, I went through the fire, but yeah. So.
Yeah, but that is always the path. Like, it's never, when you're doing something great, especially when it's ordained, it's never a clear path. You're always going to find opposition coming your way. And it's really to dent your faith. It's really to have questioning, was I supposed to do this? But God, if you sent me to do this, why is this happening? It's supposed to, do you know what I mean? And yours is such a testimony because you stayed in faith. You said, you know what, this is happening, but God, give me something to continue to make this come to fruition. And he did, and it did. And I think that is awesome. That is, whew. Can we have some amen in the comments? Because no, honestly, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. And what had you seen now after that? So you rebranded, you updated your website. What were the changes you saw in your company in terms of growth? What would you say are the three kind of key elements to growth?
The three kind of, social media growth, I went from having about, I think like 300 or 400 followers to about like 1,500 followers within like a short amount of time. So I saw growth from my social media. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't the greatest social media because I was working on a number of things, including my book. I was working on a number of things at the time, but I saw growth from social media. I saw definitely a growth in website traction, and I think it's really, really important to track these things. So, you know, how many views you're getting on your website, how many, you know, contacts you're getting and all of that kind of stuff. And I guess the third thing, an increase in recommendations. So I was getting a lot of clients. I was getting international clients, which I thought was quite interesting because it was something I prayed about in passing. Like, oh God, you know, like I want international clients too. without even necessarily thinking about the logistics of sending 40 pieces of lace to Holland or or to Germany, like without thinking about how much it's going to cost me or cost the individual. But I prayed it forth, and you know, I found clients across the world were contacting me, and you know, it's a blessing. Definitely a blessing.
So powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into a few of these comments, guys. Drop any questions in that you have for Sarah. I'm going to have a quick look through the comments now. And then, Sarah, we can tap into your book, because you are a newly found author, right?
Yeah.
So let's just quickly tap through these comments, see what we have. So we got Tara in here, London, Hayes, loads of Hayes. Thumbs up. We got a wow to your testimony. We got a laughing face in there. I think that's when you didn't remember about the currency thing.
Yeah.
Faces. So we're loving the Lukes. Thumbs up, thumbs up. 100. So we've got some cosigns to your testimony in here. Love Strux. We've got a comment here from H, guys. That's good. You love what you do. You don't hear that often, so that's great. That's about your job.
Yeah.
You're inspiring people. We got Alicia in here saying she's inspired by your testimony. We've got Shah's Fitness in here. So proud of you. The claps. I'm loving the love, people. Got thumbs up, hearts. We've got some amens. See, the people are feeling you, girl. We've got some claps as well. Awesome. Thank you for the engagement, guys. We're loving hearing your feedback, your comments. So again, drop any questions in here for Sarah, and we'll have a look at them after we talk about your book. Let us in. So you are a newly found author, and you've got a new book called Behind the Scenes, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Tell us.
I've got the book. I have the book like everywhere I go.
Woo, let us see this, child. Awesome.
So yeah, this book is literally my baby. That has caused me a lot of So Behind the Scenes is a book that I started to write 4 years ago. So when I briefly spoke about some of the challenges that I faced that was affecting my business, so I was in a relationship, and I was in a relationship for 6 years. And we're due to get married, we're engaged, and the week of the wedding it got called off, and that was a very traumatic experience, to say the very least. It wasn't a decision that I necessarily made, or should I say it was a decision that I made at all. And so because of that, you know, my avenue to healing was to write. So at the time I didn't know I was writing a book. At the time I was just writing. It was like my journal entries, logging on to God, because I couldn't speak, you know. They always say heartbreak is the wound that you never ever know when it's going to heal, how it's going to heal, what way it's going to heal. And for me, that was my story. It was like I just didn't know, and there were days I couldn't speak to God, so I was just writing. Anyway, fast forward to a few months later, I started a blog, and then a few months after that, I kept receiving words from people, and also in my own quiet time with God, that I was going to one day author a book. Okay, no, like, what's that? That's just better putting your business out there. Let's all stop it. You know, book, stop it. And so I was just like, okay, thank you, amen, but no. Eventually I became obedient, and I started to put the pieces of the journal together and realized that, well, actually, this is a good read, you know. Obviously taking some things out because it is a memoir, and you know, you don't want to really put things out there about other people that's going to be detrimental, so on and so forth. And so I finished a book in Berlin 2018, which is also the time when I had the shoot going on and got images. So that's what I said, it was such a important trip. It was a breakthrough in my business and also in the book. I finished a draft, but then after that, it was like trying to fix it and do all these other things, redraft, whatever. I was just so nervous to put it out there. It's a very vulnerable book. It shares some of my deepest deepest occurrences in life and things that I've been through. Then eventually in 2019, my friends were like, you don't have a choice, this isn't your book, this is God's book, so you're going to do a book reading, and you know, you're going to try and get people to come. And so on the 20th of September 2019, it was a year yesterday, I held a book reading. It was supposed to be 25. Thank you. So it's supposed to be a intimate book reading, 25 people. Okay, within an hour the ticket sold out, so then I had to up it, so I had about 40 people, did the book reading. Feedback was amazing. And on the 17th of August, exactly 2 years after I finished the first draft in Berlin, I brought out Behind the Scenes.
Amazing. And that was
which has
August 2020.
2020, yeah.
Awesome.
So this book came out. So it was a 4-year journey, but eventually came out, and I have no regrets whatsoever. Not about the timing, nothing. Like, God did it. Sometimes you can beat yourself up, especially when you see other people doing things. I remember someone saying to me, oh, this person's written a book, and they wrote it in about, what did they say? This was last year. Like, oh, they wrote it in about 2 months. And I was like, and I remember beating myself up thinking, oh, Sarah, like, just bring out the book, like, just do it now. And I was essentially comparing myself to someone else because I felt as if I'd maybe missed the window. And don't get me wrong, I believed if I brought it out then or whatever, God would have still been God and he would have did what he had to do. But there were so many lessons I learnt along the way. And one was that just because it took me 4 years to get there, it doesn't mean that God can't still do his thing and his name can't be made manifest, because in the middle of a pandemic where I lost people, where I experienced some interesting things you know, around me, somehow God favored me enough to allow me to bring out this book in the midst of so much darkness around me. I'm not gonna lie and be like everything was light, it wasn't. But in the midst of so much darkness, the most beautiful thing, my testimony, literally in 144 pages, he allowed me to bring that out. I mean, what can I say?
I should have brought some tissues to this kind of conversations, because you with these testimonies, girl. Honestly, I see God's favor all over your testimonies and your journey, which is beautiful. And something you raised, which I think a lot of people go through, is the comparison, especially when you're on a similar journey. You were writing your book, someone else wrote a book, or they put theirs out in 2 months. What's taking me 2 months? All in its looked is, especially because of the internet and social media. And I'm not one to blame social media, because I think people need to be responsible for their own intake. So if you can't cope with what you're seeing on Instagram or social media, you need to take yourself away from it. But in saying that, it sometimes is a bit difficult if you are on social media and you're trying to do something and you see someone else doing it at a faster pace, or they've hit certain milestones. Sometimes just naturally, we're all only humans. You might say to yourself, oh, they've done it in this amount of time. What am I doing wrong? Or how come they've grown this much? What am I doing wrong? Or, but no, it's time and season, and everyone has their own time and season according to God's will and God's plan for your life. So everyone tuned into this live, I will just say, let yours be a lesson. Look how beautiful that is. That's 4 years apart. You could have wrote your book and put it out in 2 months. It wasn't supposed to be that way. And I'm sure it probably feels even more precious knowing it's 4 years in the making. So embrace your journey, guys. Embrace your journey. Embrace, you know, the seasons that you go through and the delays, because it just makes the glory even sweeter, for sure.
Yeah, we always hear the saying stuff like, you know, delay is not denial and all of that stuff. And sometimes we say these things without really taking it in, that no, actually, delay is not denial. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You know, you don't know why. And sometimes what we think is delayed isn't delayed. We've just placed the title of delay on top of it. And yeah, sometimes we do delay. I'm not gonna lie. I know there were things that I did that I could have done sooner. facts. But you have to just go with the process. And what you said about social media is so key. And what people need to understand is that whether we like it or not, what people share on social media is literally their highlight reel. We know that. And for a lot of these overnight successes that we see, if you speak to them and you hear their behind the scenes story, no pun intended, they will tell you that it didn't happen overnight. It took time. You know, a lot of what we glorify, a lot of the things that we pull and say, oh, this is fantastic. There was work, there was sleepless nights, there was failure beforehand sometimes before that person was able to get there. And I tried my hardest to be so candid and be honest with my testimony and share, like, you know, this didn't just happen. I remember someone saying something to me like, oh, I feel like you're just blessed. All of these things just happened to you. And in my mind I was thinking, if you know the things that I've had to go through in every area of my life, every area. So not just in my education, in my work, you know, around this time when I was going through what I was going through with my business, at the time my business was actually my only source of income when it had the worst year, because I was made redundant from what I thought was my dream job. Do you know what I mean? But because at the time, I'm not going to put down social media, so people were watching me thinking, Sarah's just got everything put together. And when I told them, they were like, whoa. And that's why for me, being honest and transparent is so that people can see that there's nothing you go through, nothing at all you go through that God can't use and God can't turn around. Your journey is your journey. Do you know what I mean? Like, Joseph isn't a fictional character in the Bible. You know, he's somebody that he went through it. You know, David went through it. All these people that we look at, we admire in the Bible, they went through it. They're not fictional characters. But they got what their reward at the end, because they never stopped believing. You know, the moment you fail is when you stop. Keep on going, keep on pursuing, you're going to get there. And that's what we have to always do. Amen.
Girl, you really laid it down. You really laid it down, but it's so true. And I also think sometimes it's easy to say it or to hear it and not to implement it, because you hear that so many times, but when it comes to implementing it, still you think fast forward. And it's funny about what you said about delay is not denial, because it's only a delay on our watch. And that's something that even I'm guilty of thinking, it's delayed, but who said? Because if it's not happened yet, then God didn't want it to happen yet. So because you set your timeline on it, or we were expecting something to happen at a certain time or in a certain way, we see it as a failure, a delay, but who said?
Who said? Who said?
Right.
You know?
So that's also something to take into account. I'm going to hop into these comments because I see them coming in. Right, so we've got some more amens in here. Alicia said, congratulations on all you have achieved. You are amazing. What advice would you give to someone on how to publish a book?
Oh gosh, child. Thank you, Jesus. What advice will I give to someone? Okay, so publishing a book is interesting. So I would say research both the self-publishing option, using a private publisher that you will pay, and then trying to get an agent. Now in my ideal, what I really wanted was to get an agent who would just do the work for me, get an agent. And I sent behind the scenes, what you do with agents is that you choose 3 chapters and sometimes a maybe like an overview of the book, and you send it to agents. So you find, whatever genre you're in, you find agents who are interested in that genre. And a lot of agents have windows when they're taking on new clients. So I sent them to so many, and a lot of the time I got no responses. Sometimes I got responses like, oh, this is great, but it's just not what we're looking for, or we've had too many books in this particular genre so we can't, for the interest of the agent, if they've got 2 romance Christian novels, for example, then it's hard to push out both. So maybe the time. Exactly. Also, my book is a faith book as well, and some agents just are looking for that. So what I would say is that what I did, which I kind of in hindsight shouldn't have done, is that I focused so much on getting an agent that I didn't look at the other avenues. And so one time I was on a trip to New York and I was about to go see my auntie, and I remember my friend saying, "Oh, why don't you find out if there are any events that you can go to?" Like, it was such a random thought for her to have. And I literally went online, and there was an event on my last day in New York, and I thought, and it was like, you know, Penguin were going to be there, all of these like big names were going to be there. And I remember just sitting there and just come back with notes and notes and notes, and they said, explore the agent option, explore the self-publishing option, and explore the option of getting a private publisher. Do it simultaneously, because if not, you could just really delay everything you're doing. This was in October 2019, and I remember coming back home to London and literally just looking at, you know, going directly to publishers, self-publishing. The thought of self-publishing was
overwhelming.
Only because it was overwhelming. Only because, like, having to upload it, having to get that, all of these things, it was long. So what I ended up doing was, I technically, according to Amazon, I self-published, but I actually worked with a publisher who did all of that for me. She didn't charge me a lot of money to publish it. Yeah, so she uploaded it all for me. I published through Amazon, which was great. Amazon do take quite a bit of a percentage. So for Kindle, they take 30%. For paperback,
that's quite a lot.
Yeah, for paperback, they take 40% plus printing costs. Yeah, but the benefits of Amazon, selling on Amazon, yeah, is that they ship across the world.
And
the traffic. So they, in the first 2 weeks of your book coming out, they will push your book for you. So they'll promote it. So literally, it was in the top 20 of romance novels. Like, all of these things, man, I was thinking, what? How did this happen? Because they push your book for you. And when you go for a publisher, well, actually, they do take quite a high percentage also. They may give you an advance, so you have all this money because, you know, but at the same time, it could work out to be quite similar. So my advice, in a very long-winded way, sorry, is to explore every option. Every option to you.
Okay, awesome. And another thing probably to know, or that you might find useful, is we had last series a guest.
My niece Brian.
Oh, are you looking after her?
No, my mum is.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, girl, you need to take 5.
No.
So we had a guest last series, Casey Alicia, and she is the author of Love Thy Fro. I don't know if you've heard of that book. It's a children's book. And she's got a So You Want to Self-Publish book kind of thing out as well, which is, I think it's an ebook. And she kind of teaches and gives the keys about self-publishing, really. So if anyone is locked in and you are interested in self-publishing a book, check out Casey Alicia.
Read. Absolutely.
There. We've got lots of thumbs up, 100s. The moment you fail is when you stop. Love that. Sylvia said, love that quote from you. And we've got some thumbs up in here as well. This has been awesome. Truly awesome. More than just a candid conversation. Almost like a Sunday service. Okay? No, honestly, thank you so much for your transparency, for all of the information you shared with us. If the people want to get in contact with you and find you and your business online, where can they find you?
So on my website, www.sarahallonge.com. So that's my personal website where I have my blog, information about my book, information about Salonge Designs. Then I also have Salonge Designs website, which is www.salonge, so SALONGE designs.com. On Instagram, it's Sarah Alongé _ because apparently there's another Sarah Alongé out there. You know, as in who's she, like, you know, come on. So it's Sarah Alongé _ behind the scenes also has a Instagram page, which is behind the scenes by Sarah Alongé. And of course, Salonga Designs has an Instagram page, which is Salonga_designs. But if you go on my main one, which is Sarah Alongé_, I have links to all of my Instagram pages.
All the links there.
Yeah.
Amazing. And also it can be found on our page under this post as well. So guys, catch up with Sarah, follow her journey. You can watch this conversation back via IGTV for the next 24 hours, and then it'll be uploaded to our YouTube where you can watch it back indefinitely. Sarah, thank you again. It has been awesome having you. Thank you so much for your transparency, for all your words, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.